All right, shalom, shalom to the elective nation of Israel. Before I get started, I'm going to give all praises and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rachakwadash. Double honors to my apostles and elders of Great Millstone who lead, teach, and rule well. Love and honors my fellow Akim, pushing the word in true faith and sincerity across the four corners. Shalom, peace and blessings to the sincere listeners who listen and subscribe to the men and doctrine of Great Millstone. This is the brother Yadab G. Mason Land Church coming with another lesson to the Spirit. And it's going to be predicated off this article right here, in which I'm not going to go into all the article because it's pretty dense. So I'm kind of just go into the intro and then kind of curtail a little bit, and then of course connect it with the scripts. But just going off this article right here, which it was run yesterday, October 16th, 2020, Year of Prophecy. And it's from seekingalpha.com. And the title is Hyperinflation Is Here. Throughout the whole, well, first of all, because of Esau Edom's Federal Reserve fractional banking system, hyperinflation was going to come anyway. But throughout the whole COVID-19 coronavirus epidemic, in order for the Trump administration and for the elites of Esau Edom to keep the economy up, they had to print a heavy abundance of Federal Reserve notes. So let's go into the article, and Lord willing, you edified through spirit, power, mercy, Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai. Like I said, this article here is from seekingalpha.com, and it's entitled Hyperinflation Is Here. Just going to the summary, it says, the early stages of a hyperinflation, I don't think that A is supposed to be there. The early stages of hyperinflation are always seen by the monetary authorities as the only policy to pursue. So pretty much what that means is, even when you hear a lot of these political figures and government leaders speak about what they're trying to do with their respective economies, that they speak about pushing in inflation, into their systems. So that's an accurate statement. It says the early stages of hyperinflation are always seen by the monetary authorities as the only policy to pursue. And that's why you see, not only in America, but in a lot of countries around the world, they are printing more and more currency. It says nominal GDP is not just the other side of the monetary equation. It is also total production. And the other side of total production is the sum of consumption and deferred consumption. So, let's go into how these monetary figures, they try to calculate their data, GDP and things of that nature. They play with the numbers, man. You know what I'm saying? Meaning that, GDP goes into pretty much gross domestic production, goes into the total amount of economic production that a country or economy does. But there's other factors that go along into that, i.e. taxation, tax benefits, debt, tariffs, actual sales and transactions. There's a lot that goes into it that a lot of times they leave out, and they sugarcoat and kind of powder coat in order to skew the data and the numbers in a way in which, it seemingly benefits them. It says very few are conscious that hyperinflation is already with us. And that's very, very true. Most people don't realize that, we're in a place in which, if it hasn't already begun in your local areas, it's very soon to come. But definition, like I said, I'm not going to go into all this article because it is very, very dense. Definition, hyperinflation is the condition whereby monetary authorities accelerate the expansion of the quantity of money to the point where it proves impossible for them to regain control. See, so hyperinflation is a condition whereby monetary authorities, or those who are in control of the monetary system, in America, that's the Federal Reserve Bank, accelerate the expansion of the quantity of money to the point where it proves impossible for them to regain control. So pretty much Hyperinflation, as this article defines it, is when these monetary authorities, like I said, in America, that's the Federal Reserve Bank, when they print so much money that they can't stop printing money. They have to continue to print money in order for them to keep their economy flowing, you see. It ends when the state's fiat currency is finally worthless. It is an evolving crisis, not just a climatic event, meaning, these monetary authorities, like I said, in America, the Federal Reserve Bank, they got to keep printing money, keep printing money to the point that the money becomes worthless because they flooded the system with this money supply, and meaning that it's an evolving crisis, meaning it continues to build and build and build to the point that, bam, it all kind of falls apart. I'm going to go into a little bit of the article. It says, summary, this article defines hyperinflation in simple terms, making it clear that most, if not all, governments have already committed their unbacked currencies to destruction by hyperinflation. The evidence is now becoming plain to see. And that's, the elites of Esau, Edom, and the Trump administration, they're doing a decent job, hiding the fact that we're on the on the footsteps of hyperinflation because, through their smooth words and, really it's been a long-term agenda, especially with Trump, them, priming and grooming him for decades now to make him president at a particular time. A lot of people, they don't see that hyperinflation is here, and that's the thing about hyperinflation. It's inflation, but it's kind of like inflation on steroids. So when it hits and when it begins, prices increase very, very rapidly. The phenomenon is driven by the excess of government spending over tax receipts. So pretty much the government is printing more money and spending more money significantly over what it receives in taxes, which is already spiraled out of control in the U.S. and elsewhere. The first round of the coronavirus has only served to make the problem more obvious to those who had already understood that the expansionary phase of the bank credit cycle was coming to an end. So pretty much, you can go back far. You can really go back far. You can go back to Jimmy Carter administration, Reagan, Clinton, as far as what they report, was more balanced economy-wise. But the Bush administration, the Obama administration, now the Trump administration, it's been a continual process of these governments spending significantly more, in their government budgets than what they've been receiving in tax dollars. And through that phase, that expansionary phase of spending, it's destined to come to an end because you can't build a system off of debt. You know what I'm saying? Eventually, those debts and those credits become due, and if you don't have the value to account for those debts, then you're short. And that's what's happening right now, not only in the U.S. economy but in economies around the world. Everybody's building their economies off of debt, and really. One of the main proprietors and one of the main countries and groups that are pushing that is America. Continuing on, and by combining with the economic consequences of the trade tariff war between China and America, we are condemned to a repeat of the conditions that led to the Wall Street crash of 1929 through 1932. And that's another thing, too, going into this tariff war with China, in which, according to reports, once you actually get into numbers, America is losing this tariff war because, man, China, they were bad with those tariffs, man. They were even to the point that they were putting tariffs on specific Republican run municipalities, whether it be states. I know one example is Kentucky, in which that's the state that Senator Mitch McConnell comes from, and they put a direct tariff on that bourbon, because that's one product that America produces that whiskey bourbon, that's one of the products that America produces that is like, kind of has a reputation around the world as being high quality. But they tariffed that specific good because they knew that it was directly attached to a Republican politician. You know what I'm saying? Going to, the trade tariff war between China and America. For economic historians, these should be statements of the obvious. Let me see. I keep reading. The fact is that the tax base, which is quantified by GDP when measured by the true rate of the dollar's loss of purchasing power and confirmed by the accelerated rate of increase in broad money over the last 10 years, has been declining sharply in real terms while government spending commitments continue to rise. Like I said, I'm not going to go into all the article because it is kind of dense, but let's just go into this paragraph here, right here. Let's skip the part about the economic historians. The fact is that the tax base, which that's the amount of tax dollars that the American government receives, which is quantified by GDP, which means it's a portion of GDP, a percentage of GDP. When measured by the true rate of the dollar's loss of purchasing power, that's inflation, because the Federal Reserve Bank has to print more and more dollars in order to keep this economy afloat and turning, which decreases the amount of purchasing power, which is inflation, and confirmed by the accelerated rate of increase in broad money, which is them continuing to produce and print Federal Reserve notes at a very, very high rate. You see what I'm saying? So pretty much the U.S. is getting less money in taxes, okay, which when that's coupled with a decrease in purchasing or buying power because the value of the dollar is decreasing, which is also teamed with the Federal Reserve Bank printing more and more dollars at a higher rate. What does it equal? Hyperinflation, Let me see. There might have been one other part. Oh, I want to get this last little part, and then we'll get into the scripts. Well, it went into the point. I was going to go a little bit more into hyperinflation. I may or may not. We'll see. Introduction. In the last 10 years, I have waged 2 crusades to bring attention to issues I believe to be in the public's interest. From 2011, I wrote a series of articles about China's gold policy, which had been accumulating physical gold from as long ago as 1983. And see, these other countries, China being one, has been backing their currency and doing things to actually uphold the value of their currency, going to accumulation of gold, which is real money. The meme that gold was moving from west to east became broadly understood and almost a cliche. The second crusade was to inform the public that the business or trade cycle was only the symptom of a cycle of bank credit, which inevitably ends in the crisis of credit contraction. See, so just going to, this specific example of China, China, once again, is backing their currency with gold, with natural resources, with things that actually have value. And according to this article, they've been doing it since 1983, which is almost 40 years ago, And then secondly, speaking about how this business and trade cycle is pretty much based off of debt. It's based off of credit, which eventually, when those credits and those debts become due, there's a contraction of credit. When there's a contraction of credit, then there's going to be a slowdown in the economy. Going into, once again, hyperinflation. Continuing on, it is now time for a new campaign on a subject which I have been writing about in recent months, and that is to inform the wider public that their governments and their fiat currencies are now in a state of hyperinflation. It is not a development on the far horizon as many might think. It is already here. And, once again, just going into hyperinflation, the U.S. and economies around the world, they're taking in less tax dollars from their businesses and from their citizens. They're continuously losing the value of their currency because it's not backed by anything. It's fiat currency, and at the same time, they're printing their notes in America's case, Federal Reserve notes at a higher and higher clip, which is going to just continue the devaluation of the dollar. You know what I'm saying? So, that goes into hyperinflation. Like I said, I was planning on going to hyperinflation a little bit more, but I think this article pretty much did a pretty good job of, kind of going into it and, breaking it down. So, from there, you get a few precepts. Okay, so this is Job 27, I'll start at verse 16. Though he heap up silver as the dust and prepare raiment as the clay, he may prepare it, but the just shall put it on, and the innocent shall divide the silver. See, and this is going to, Edom Esau, man. You know what I'm saying? Because, the earth being given into the hand of the wicked, and Edom Esau is really the main source of building his system off of nothing, off of falsehood, off of, just, fiat. It is what we say it is. You know what I'm saying? And though he, through that policy and through that mentality and mindset, though he's able to heap up, these resources for himself, he's just preparing it that the just is going to be able to receive the benefits of his labor, so to speak. Verse 18, he buildeth his house as a moth and as a booth that the keeper maketh. The rich man shall lie down, but he shall not be gathered. He openeth his eyes, and he is not. You see what I'm saying? So though he, built his house, it's not built on substance. You know what I'm saying? It's built on, built with straw and and just materials, and really, like I said, off of ideology that is not built on true substance, man. You know what I'm saying? It's built on falsehoods and lies and deceit. And verse 20, the terrors take hold on him as waters, and a tempest stealeth him away in the night. See, and though he think he's in a good case because he has, control of these resources, the terrors of Yahweh Shem Shai and the plagues that Yahweh Shem Shai bringing down with judgment are going to take hold of him as waters, man, which is going to completely encapsulate and submerge him in these terrors, man. And he's going to be the storm or the tempest is going to take him away as soon as he thinks that he's going to be able to fulfill his wicked agenda, man. Let's get this. Yeah, let's jump forward and come back. Actually, yeah, let's go. Yep, so Psalm 37, and we'll start up. Psalms 37 and 14. The wicked have drawn out the sword and have bent their bow to cast down the poor and needy and to slay such as be of upright conversation. See, so going to the wicked, once again, going to Edom Esau, have drawn out their sword. And a big reason why in which they're overspending and, their house is going to fall is because a lot of the spending they're doing is for destruction, heavy military spending, you know what I'm saying, and weapons of warfare and destruction. And they're trying to do that to completely control or obliterate the poor and the needy, and specifically to uproot the righteous remnant that was planted by Yahweh Shem Shai. Verse 15, their sword shall enter into their own heart, and their bows shall be broken. See, so, the Most High really put them in a snare and a trick bag in which they're going to actually be destroyed by the weapons that they created themselves, man, through the inspiration of Yahweh Shem Shai, of course. And here's the point that I want to really get. Psalms 37 and 16. A little that a righteous man hath is better than the riches of many wicked. You see? So even with us just being that spirit of being, content with the things that we have is very, very important. You see, because the riches of the wicked aren't really riches. They're really a plague of the mind, so to speak. A plague of the spirit. In which it's the fruit of wickedness. It's not the fruit of the spirit or fruit of righteousness. And actually, I'm ending right there, man. It's a good place to end it, I feel. So yeah, like the article went into, hyperinflation is here. We shouldn't be surprised when we see these price hikes and things that are coming, because not only does it make sense mathematically, because like we went into the low tax receipts, the value of the Federal Reserve note and the currency, and then also the increased printing of the federal of these dollars in circulation. Hyperinflation is destined to happen, But then also we understand how it links perfectly with scriptures, in which you can't build a house on fakeness, man. It has to be built through real materials, real substance. You know what I'm saying? Things that are actual, factual, so to speak. If you can catch my drift, man. So, Lord willing, that's what's edifying. Once again, I want to give all praises and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rachak. Double honors to my apostles and elders of Great Millstone who lead, teach, and rule well. Love and honors my fellow Akim, pushing the word and true faith and seed across the four corners. Until next time, Shalom.